Welcome to the White Bear.
Let's address the elephant in the room. Hello, hello. How are you doing on this fine Sunday morning?
I'm doing quite well, sir.
Does my voice sound better now?
Yeah, it sounds good.
For all of our loyal listeners, we used our earnings from the first podcast and that gigantic success that it was, and we upgraded our audio quality, so
here we are. Yeah, gigantic earnings. I think our YouTube output would be like 0.2 of a cent right now, but we
had like 30 clicks. I was pretty surprised, honestly.
Yeah, we're making moves. I wouldn't worry about it.
We'll push out content. We just got to get to critical mass, right? And then someday we'll be popular. People can look at all this old content and wonder what the fuck we were doing in our younger days.
Yeah, exactly. By that time, we'll hopefully have hired a bunch of people to do much more.
Yeah. Dude, I was listening. Do you listen to Arian Foster's podcast?
No, I didn't even know he had one.
Yeah, dude, it's pretty good. He has like a pretty diverse range of people on, and like he's real like into physics and philosophy and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he's an interesting dude for sure. But I listened to one with him yesterday, and he had this guy on whose YouTube account is called Cosmic Skeptic, and he just talks about like a bunch of philosophy, political, like atheist type stuff. But this dude's got like millions of followers, and he's only 19. He's on Arian Foster's podcast.
Really, that's wild.
Made me feel like shit.
Yeah, it's like, what the fuck have we been doing? You know?
Yeah. Yep. Oh well, alas. So what do we got on the docket today, James?
Well, we got guns, we got Trump, we got masculinity if we get there, a little MLK. There's a lot.
Wide range here, good.
Range. And I like keeping it diverse, So
that's true. You don't want to too narrowly focus on anything. Could get bogged down.
But I guess we can start off with an intro. Just in case anybody doesn't know, I'm James, and I'm here with Zach, and we are together, the White Bear. This is episode 2 of our fantastic podcast. If you didn't see or hear episode 1, it is up on Anchor, which is a great app, by the way. We're not getting paid for this advertisement, but if you get a chance, download Anchor. There's a bunch of great content. We're, of course, on YouTube, so go watch that, too, because we'd like to start getting some revenue. So, yeah.
It'd be pretty legit if I didn't have to pay for my grad school.
Yeah, that'd be nice. And I'm thinking about going to grad school in the next couple of years, so you can help me out, too.
Ooh, hey, come to Colorado.
I don't know about Colorado. It's a little cold over there. But
it's actually really hot. I hate it. I don't hate it. It's pretty cool, but yeah, it's like the elevation because it's so close to the sun. Like I'll be walking around like 40 degrees, and just because the sun's out, I'll be fucking sweating. It's horrible.
That makes sense, though.
Yeah, I think I do really like the mountains, though. I think like if I have a choice, I'd like to move to the Pacific Northwest because it'd be like cool and cloudy and dark like me, but there'd still be mountains.
Yeah. See, that's how I know you're from Northeast Ohio, because you like cloudy, cool, and see, I'm of African descent. If you didn't know, I like it hot.
Oh, really? I didn't even see color.
Right. That's funny. But so yeah, like that. I guess that gets us into our first thing. We're going to talk about what we're both doing these days. So I guess you explained a little bit.
Yeah, so I'm in grad school in Colorado out here. I'm studying petroleum engineering because I hate the environment and want all things to die. No, actually, I'm studying that and space resources. So my ultimate goal is to work for a company that tries to extract resources from space.
Oh, you're into drilling into asteroids and stuff.
Yeah, that's the hope.
That's pretty cool.
What about you, James? You in DC? I hear that's what they tell me.
Yeah, I'm in DC, man. I'm in a transition period in my life. For all you college graduates that are coming out, your first job will probably suck. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yep.
So you'll be a lot like me. Work there for over a year or so. Get tired of it because we're millennials and we give up easy. And
isn't that the truth?
No, not at all. But yeah, so I'm actually transitioning to a new position for the United States government, in which I'm not allowed to talk about at the moment. So yeah, that's where I'm at.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, so just living life. It's expensive out in the world, especially in places like DC, where
Yes, it is.
it's overpopulated. There's there's a shortage of housing, and so yeah, it's great.
The real world's fun, guys.
It actually is, because there's enough responsibility to keep you honest, but you can still kind of have that freedom. So
yeah,
but bills suck. But I said bills suck.
Oh, here's the thing we could jump into. Maybe did you see the exchange I had with Christian like 2 days ago?
Christian?
On Twitter?
No. Which?
Randolph?
No, I did not. Fill me in.
Okay, he said. I'm trying to remember exactly what he said here. He said just something along the lines of like why are rich people looking down on people with welfare when they're taking like government handouts too with like college loans? Mm-hmm. And like I kind of agreed with him, because that's stupid to like just look down on people because they need to exactly. Eat. But I was like, dude, that's not like the same thing, because right, I like, as someone that this is intimately close to, since I just took out a $30,000 loan this year, like I have to pay that back with interest. Like I understand that it's a quote unquote subsidy, but they're making money on me, and it sucks.
Yeah, I have an opinion on that. I think how do I put it? Like, I want to say that they're crippling, but in different ways. Yeah. So with college loans, it's crippling in the way that you do have to pay that back. It's easy to accumulate a bunch of it because college is very expensive. Interest rates, I mean, I think my total after undergrad was like, because I paid for it all myself. So like my total after undergrad was like, it's like 60 something. And with interest, I'll end up paying back like 1.5 to like 1.75 times that amount. So like it's crippling in that way. Yeah, it's crazy. But welfare is crippling in that people get dependent on it. And it kind of helps people get in their own way. But I'll never look down on, because I have family that are not in great situations. I know I wasn't in a great situation at one point, and that it does give some sort of, keep some people afloat, So I don't know. Yeah,
and I mean, yeah, it's easy to look at it and see like the worst. Mm-hmm. Like, so back in my hometown, right? There's like, I have no idea if this was like Christian meant this to be like a black-white thing, or if that's like what he was alluding to or not. But like, so back in my hometown, it's pretty much all white people, right? So there's just like a bunch of fucking trailer trash that that like, goes in the store and they have all their shit. And some of them really suck. Like, so it's easy to like look at the shitty examples and be like, oh, this is a shitty system. But I mean, you can do that with college too, right? Like someone who goes to school for 2 years, drops out, wastes all this government money, and then never pays it back.
Yeah. And
so, I mean, you get people taking advantage of both.
Yeah, definitely. And is that if you look at the statistics, it's definitely not as much as a black-white thing as people think it is. I think, especially in terms of food stamps, like there are definitely more white people on food stamps than there are black people, just because of sheer population numbers. Like, of course, proportionally.
What are the ratios like? I've never looked at any of these numbers.
It's because that's a common misconception, I think. But yeah, I don't know. It is somewhat hypocritical for a kid like there are kids we went to school with that would probably have that opinion, but like Northern is expensive. I know you have loans, so so it's.
But yeah, that was really all. I thought it was kind of weird because like the comparison, just because I mean, one's like an investment by an individual and one's an investment by society, right? And so it's like they're kind of the same, but they're not really.
Yeah.
And that too actually got me thinking, like there's a lot of good information on just what letting people eat and giving them a place to live does for the trajectory of their life.
Oh.
And I'm kind of uncertain why people don't make that argument to Republicans more often, because that's like the angle that they would listen to it from.
Right. Yeah, it's a game changer in a lot of ways. I mean, it's such a simple construct too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, just give some people some food,
yeah,
place to live.
Yeah. A little motivation. It's good for the psyche. Like I can't.
Although, yeah, with sometimes it does make people dependent, which sucks.
Yeah, but that's
what I don't. Do you feel like I feel like Republicans talk a lot of the time in like the point they're making is often abstract and not literal, and so like let's just say like the real hardline Republican stance on food is heartless, right? But
yeah,
it's like the point they're making is that you need to better yourself, right? And pull your bootstraps up or whatever. Of course, then you can talk. What I saw, I think it was MLK actually. I saw a video people were retweeting because it was his death anniversary or whatever. But he said something about like telling people to pull themselves up by their bootstraps, but they don't have any boots or something.
Oh yeah.
This is a nice, powerful retort.
Yeah, that's a good point. And like, it's, I don't know. It's just simple to me. Like, people just need that.
Yeah,
just mentally.
It's interesting because like, if you like, even if you let's use that metaphor. Even if you don't have boots, if you act in a manner as if you do and try to pull your straps up, you'll be better off. You know what I mean? Like, it's like if you're not so pessimistic and just kind of keep running your head into the wall type thing, you'll be better than if you're just lounging around being angry at the government and the power and the corporations or whatever it is that you have your beef with.
Yeah, and
all right. Go on.
No. We're I think we're good on that.
I was just about to move into what we actually had planned. We just kept talking about this, but if you had another point, then by all means.
No, I'm straight.
All right, so should we move into guns then?
Oh yes.
We'll talk about.
Yes, one of my favorite topics these days.
It is. It's interesting.
Yeah, like I don't know. I feel like I'm really passionate about it.
Yeah, let's start us off then.
Well, let's just start with where it all began. The whole second 2A #2A, as people like to say. I don't know. You know, it's crazy to me, especially with some liberal. A lot of the black population is a liberal I wouldn't say liberal, democratic population. All right, yeah, liberal. So we have the Second Amendment, and though it is not explicitly stated for the purpose of defending freedom, if it ever came to that point, there are quotes from founding fathers that I can't think of the exact quote from George Washington, but I firmly believe that the Second Amendment is in place to combat tyranny. That's just me personally. I am like pretty strong with that like fundamental thought, and like personally I can't understand how, specifically with the African American population, like we were slaves in this country at one point, you know.
That is true.
Like, it's not like these atrocities have not been seen, and it wasn't that long ago. Like the 1860s weren't that long ago.
Yeah, dude, it's crazy. Like how short we've been here.
We haven't been here for that long. So, I mean, just going back to civil rights, like, yeah.
Yeah, that's our lifetime.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then you got this Syrian refugees, and it's just wild, the things that we even see today. And like, for me, the Second Amendment helps protect my rights if it ever came down to that. I'm not an extremist by any means, but I don't know, it's just tough for me to like just let that go. That doesn't mean that I don't think there can be change, like, for sure, in terms of access and things of that nature. So
yeah, well, the two arguments that I really don't understand when people try to leverage them is like what you said, like it's supposed to be for against tyranny, right? And so one thing people say a lot is like, well, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So well, how do you know?
Right, exactly.
Like, it doesn't happen until it happens.
Exactly.
Like, I don't think anybody thought Hitler was going to fucking blitzkrieg across Western Europe, and then he did.
Exactly. Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
I can.
And we're back.
Sorry for that little skip in the audio. So I guess that's all you're going to hear since we'll splice it.
Yeah.
You worry about that, audience. Now you just get a longer podcast because we have more recording time.
Oh, absolutely. Where were we?
I was talking about how I agree with you on the tyranny thing. So I was saying the 2 points that I really don't understand that people make against guns is, first, which I think you heard because I remember you responding to it, but like, well, that's not going to happen argument. Like, well, you don't know when.
Yeah, exactly.
When it's going to happen. Like, that's not how it works. And then the other thing is related to that. I was just going to say, like, people make the argument, like, why do you even need them? Like, you're not going to win. Like, the technology is too good. And it's like, well, kind of, but those same people make arguments for leaving, like, Vietnam, Iraq, Afghanistan, because we're not going to win. And those people aren't using drones and Patriot missiles. They're just running around like guerrillas.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I was saying, I don't know if you heard this, but guerrilla, like, warfare for the audience out there, not actual guerrillas because they're not white, you know.
So everybody knows the white guy on the podcast isn't a fucking racist.
Yeah, like, so.
Can you imagine, like, a gorilla that knew how to use a gun?
Yeah, that's like Planet of the Apes. We know the outcome of that one. They win. That's
it's all done. It's scary.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, so, like, but in terms of changes being made within the system, I know that, like, there's a whole, like, community of people that think, you know, ARs aren't necessary, and sure, they're not, but, like, they're fun, so, you know. But
do you like Jim Jefferies, the comedian?
I'm not familiar.
He's Australian. He's got a couple funny bits on Netflix, but he does a stand-up where he's like talking about this, and he doesn't get it because he's from Australia. He's like, I don't understand why Americans like guns so much. And he's like talking about the argument for having guns, and he's like, there's one good argument for having a gun. You know what it is? I like guns. Not the best argument, but
it is true. It is what it is, man. They're fun.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I mean, it's the same argument for legalizing something like weed. Like whose life is helped by weed? Like, honestly, I understand that, like, some people take it for like cancer patients for eating and things like that, but, like, most people that are smoking weed are just like, right, you smoke weed, you sit around, it's like drinking. You're kind of wasting your time.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. It's a way. I mean, yeah, it's totally just a waste of time.
Like, there's nothing wrong with it, but, like, if you're gonna sit here, man, we're going into a different territory, but I don't understand that one either. Speaking of, just like when people try to like embellish all these benefits that marijuana has, which like I know it has some in certain situations, but like just say you like it. Like, why are you being dishonest trying to get it legal?
Right.
Argument you need is alcohol is more destructive. Why is that legal and weed's not? Like, that's a good argument.
Yeah.
I'm getting off topic though. Yeah.
I mean, why do we drink alcohol? Because it's fun. That's what. And let's just let that be your argument for weed. Yeah.
We're forced to exist, and we have to find a way to endure it before we die. So,
but we can let that lead into like the youngins' views on guns. Youngins being.
Yeah, that's been fascinating.
That's a youngins being. So I'm 23. You turned 24 yet?
I am 24.
Yeah. So youngins being, I'd say 20 and under, 19-ish and under, maybe. And like, I would say, I don't know. There are some flawed views, and like their perspective isn't the same as ours. Even from like, I mean, I know we're close in age, but not to say that they ain't been through shit. But like, we remember like 9/11 and like all these things, like all these atrocities and Columbine and like, I don't know. They grew up in a different time because it's the same time, but I guess the viewpoint is different. Like during our adolescence, we kind of saw that shift from more of a tougher, like even our parents say that like we're soft, but like us growing up, we can see that shift to more of a like coddling nature, I would say. Off topic, but main example would be like football.
Yes.
So like we both play college football. So like, I mean, you broke your neck. So, and like
I had spinal stenosis. Yes, okay. I didn't break anything.
Okay. You got a vertebrae replaced. So that counts. But like you
probably have too, but it's fine.
You had a problem with your hand and like the atrophy, right? And you got that checked out and you had a surgery and you played again and you could have died, right?
I don't know if I could have died. I could have been a paraplegic or quadriplegic, I think.
That's what I said.
Yeah, quadriplegic. It might as well be, right? Oh, I'm sorry. Was that offensive to the physically disabled? I don't care. I don't want to not have use of my fucking limbs.
Yes. Yeah, I'm sorry for offending paraplegics. We volunteered for the Special Olympics, and so we're
so we can say whatever we want.
Exactly. So,
is that like? So I have a black friend, and I can say whatever I want, right? Is that how that works?
Say that. Yeah. So like, you could have been seriously hurt, but like you played. Like I feel like a kid nowadays. Like once you went through that thing with your hand, even though you were completely misdiagnosed. So.
Yeah, I mean, in hindsight, I feel like I should have been raising more red flags with myself. But hey, I love football, so didn't think about it.
Yeah. So like, like I don't know if a kid growing up now would do that same thing. So, and the whole concussion issue. I had many a concussion. I had like 3 in a year once.
Yeah, right.
Yes, and like I stepped away from the game for freshman year, and then like I came back because I like wanted to, but I don't think kids would do that again. So
yeah, though I like not. There's kids that would do it, right? Like not to toot our horn, but we're more uniquely wired in that way.
Yeah, I would say that.
There are more Jameses and Zachs growing up right now.
Yeah, that's fair. But there is a hoopla being around that issue. the danger of
definitely.
the game.
I hate like talking about people, so I feel like I'm like it feels like the way people react to me is like I'm on the side of a climate change denier or something.
Mm-hmm.
Like all I'm trying to say is like we do not know very much about how this works. I'm very aware that I might be severely injured and I might have proteins growing in my brain right now that'll give me pseudo Alzheimer's or something.
Yeah.
But like they're like, so right, I have a dad and a grandpa who both played for a long time and are fine. Right. Grandpa's getting much brain, but he's like 83, so you know. Yeah. But Aaron Hernandez is like 27. He's got like the worst they've ever seen. So there's clearly like some genetic component to this, right? Like there can't not be.
Just like everything. Not like everything, but like there's genetic components to pretty much every sickness. I'm diabetic, so clearly that's something that was like in my family genes. Like I had a grandma who was diabetic, and but it's just,
dude, that shit's scary. Did I tell you when I tried that diet and I like dropped my blood sugar a bunch?
Yeah, dude, I told you, man. It's carbs. You need carbs.
Yeah. No. So I tried keto or whatever, and it actually worked. Like I lost like 10 pounds, but yeah, I didn't like eating like fatty meats all day every day and shit. But like when I first started it, this is actually what it was good for. Honestly, is like I realized I was eating way too many carbs. Yeah. So like on like day 3 or whatever, it's like trying to kick in the ketosis. My carb imbalance was so great that basically I didn't have the enzymes to break down the fat or whatever, and so my like fucking dropped. And I like woke up in the middle of the night, and my hands were like shaking uncontrollably.
Yes.
I had to go eat like 3 cans of pears.
Yeah, so like
I was like, it feels like every fucking day.
Yeah, so like that happens to me a lot, and like that was happening like during that time. So me and Zach lived together our senior year.
When you were supposed to be dead?
Yeah, so like me and Zach lived together our senior year in college, which is when I was diagnosed with diabetes, like right after graduation. But before that, I had diabetes pretty much the entire year, and I didn't know. So like I would be like waking up, shaking, and eventually the symptoms caught up to me and put me in the hospital. But like, yeah, man, that shit's dangerous.
Scary.
But
yeah, dude, I totally get the keto thing because it really did work. And then actually I gained all the weight back because I like hurt my shoulder and stopped working out and didn't realize how much I was eating. And then, just like that, it was all back on.
Yeah.
But, but like, dude, I totally get it. But for me, just, man, I still like to go into the gym and do like deadlift, power clean, push ups, all that shit. And just running in like survival mode on the fat, I felt like so unexplosive. It wasn't even funny.
Yeah.
Like it was just awful. Like it's just one of the things like I can't live like this. So now I'm basically, for all intents and purposes, you could say I'm like Iranian diet, I guess. But
yeah, I mean,
pretty much what I do now is get enough grains.
Yeah, and like I feel like keto is like not an extreme, but like I mean it works for some people, but
yeah, I have a friend. He played at Muskingum, and he ended up quitting, I think, his junior year. But he was a lineman, so he was like, it was like with Dino, like just trying to get big just to play line in college football. Except instead of going to the Army, he just quit, and he was just still in college or whatever, and he got up close to like 300 pounds.
Damn.
And then he moved out to Texas for a job, and he got really into jiu-jitsu out there somehow, and I think someone there like got him on the keto or whatever. He's like 180 pounds now. He's so skinny, it's crazy.
Shit. That's wild. Yeah.
So I mean, it worked for him. He's actually the one that like put me onto it or whatever. And like I think for his goals, it's really good, but for me, it just
it doesn't.
Wasn't working out.
And which is fair. I don't think I could personally do it just because I have to have carbs. So yeah. my body doesn't regulate like a normal human. But yeah.
So we're on diet. How do we go from guns to diet? I don't even know how that transition happened.
I don't know, but it works.
Should we go back to guns?
Yeah, let's go back to guns. Yeah, but so do you see any good things coming from that movement amongst our younger population?
Yeah, I mean, I think a couple different things. I think in general, it's good to have an example of people being engaged, right?
Right.
So that's always good. It seems like there's enough, like as dumb as this is, it seems like there's enough staying power and like media interest in this just because they're kids that some change might actually happen. Like Rubio gets shit on all the time, but he's like a pretty good senator and he's like been getting on board with like all kinds of changes. I don't know why people are shitting on him so much. Like, so there's at least one prominent person, right, that's changed their stance just because of like what they were doing.
And that's fair.
I don't get like, so here's, I totally get the reaction to say they don't know what they're talking about because I actually really deeply agree with what am I trying to say? Do you listen to Jordan Peterson at all? Have you heard him talk?
No, I have not.
Okay. That's not going to be helpful then. But like, you have to get your own house in order and figure out what's going on before you can try to change the world. And like, if you're a kid, that's not going to be something that's happened. Like, you're just not wise enough, right?
True.
And like, so I totally get that, like, pushback to be like, oh, these, but it's like not like you don't need to bring that up right now. Like, it's just not like that. The time to talk about that will come. Right now, this is like their time to say what they want to say, and you don't need to like shit on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no.
You have to say that a 17-year-old doesn't know everything about life. Of course they don't. Everybody knows that. That's, you know what I mean? Like, you're just like distracting, I guess. Like, I don't know why people kind of go there.
I mean, that's your argument, a fair argument. And I think people do it to kind of distract from the fact that they may have points. So, I mean, it's just a distraction mechanism, but I do agree with the people that say, I mean, there's a difference between knowledge and wisdom comes with experience. So it's easy to say that clearly a young person doesn't have the wisdom to know.
Right.
But I do think I wrote a piece about this, and which is up on our website, which is whitebearseason.wordpress.com. Senseless plug.
SZN.
Yeah, SZN. whitebearseason.wordpress.com. In that, I wrote a piece about how, a more effective way to influence change, and like, I was at the March for Our Lives, which I mentioned last episode, and like, it's cool to see that level of participation, but politicians are kind of like rich guys. Politicians are rich guys mostly, most of the national politicians at least, in that you hurt them by hurting your pockets and hurting their pockets. So my opinion was one that you influence change mostly state and locally. So I think the movement isn't falling short on that front, because I know that like there have been town halls and everything, but the pressure definitely has to be put more so on state and local governments, because state laws and state governments have the influence to impact those type of policies on a state level and then eventually on a national level. So I mean, change isn't going to happen all night. All night. Change isn't going to happen overnight. I know that, especially, I'll classify millennials in it too. Millennials and the younger than millennials are not very patient. And I think there has to be a certain level of patience and persistence on the state and local level.
You can make a good analogy with, like, I don't know, let's just say like sports training, right?
Right.
So there's motivation and there's discipline.
Mm-hmm.
And like, motivation is exciting, but it's very fleeting.
Right.
And you have to wake up at 6 every day and just go do what you got to do.
Mm-hmm.
Wake up at 6.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean?
Yeah,
you know what
absolutely.
I'm saying?
And like, yeah, it just has to be a consistent thing. And I don't necessarily agree with that the Second Amendment needs to go away and guns need to go away completely, because
I'm really, really, really hesitant in general.
Say that again?
You know what I mean?
Wait, what did you say? You like broke up a little bit.
Wait, I heard something.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, okay, cool. What's going on? Did you like keep knocking the headset out or something?
No, I got my headphones plugged in. I don't know what's going on, but yeah.
Let's just blame Anchor.
Yeah, well, this podcast is brought to you by Anchor. Anchor Audio. Download the app. Web-based platform as well. They're hooking us up with some great hosting services. So, not hooking us up, like they're not paying us at all for me to say that, but yes.
Anchor, put us on the front page of your website.
Yes, please. Yeah, so like my nervousness with repealing the Second Amendment, I mean, since when do criminals abide by the law? And I know it's really cliche, but you must be completely out of your mind if you think that some criminal is going to be like, oh yeah, I got an arsenal. I'll give it to you guys. You know?
Yeah, I feel like that's one big thing that people just kind of ignore is like the melancholy of our situation in general. There's like 3 times as many guns in circulation as there are people living in the United States, right? Yeah. So like they're all already there. And like, so even if your position is to do like what Australia did and have everybody turn them in, it doesn't matter. They're fucking everywhere.
And not even to mention the ones that come in illegally, things we can't track. Like I saw an article, or no, I saw a video, and like some kid committed a robbery with a Glock. The kid's like 20 years old or whatever. And the Glock was like stolen from someone's house in like 1992. And this kid somehow got a hold of it, like bought it probably off of some guy on the street or whatever. And like he ended up with it. And it was stolen fucking almost 30 years ago. So it's like, and that kid wasn't even thought of. So it's just crazy. It's just crazy.
It's just like one of those things, right? And you can kind of see that too, like in statistics and stuff. Like people like to point out that are anti-gun, like to point out like things, just like stats like of us versus like Western Europe or whatever, right? Where we've got more of all different things.
Right.
Well, yeah, that's true. But like if you actually look at the stats, it's not just like there's a trend. It's a complete anomaly. And I don't think it's because of our current gun laws. I think it's because somehow our culture and where we came from and our history has led us to this point where we're way over critical mass. And no matter what we do, we're going to have like a different outcome than pretty much any of these other countries. I don't think we shouldn't do things, but I don't think people sit there and acknowledge the gravity of the situation very often.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's such a unique place in that aspect.
I will say though, like there's something that I really like about the Second Amendment that doesn't really have anything to do with it. It's just like intricately linked.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe this will or won't make sense, but I really like the edge that comes with like that cowboy culture that we have in America. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of people in America that, like, if Kim Jong tried to take over the world or something crazy happened, like, that I would feel good about just going into guerrilla warfare with.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I like the crazy.
I wish them up. Bruh, you imagine a bunch of Koreans trying to take over like Compton? You know what type of shit would go down? It would be bad.
How beautiful would that be if like Texas and Compton united to fight the Koreans?
Right. Chicago flanking them from the east. Are you kidding me? You kidding me? It's bad news.
Get that shit out of here.
You're right. What's nice about the U.S. though is that like there's so many different terrains, like it's almost like impossible.
Oh, dude, we can't go. Us, Russia, the Syrian government, and ISIS can't go to Syria and like keep things under control. Tiny ass fucking Syria. That's just a desert.
Yeah.
Like, the United States is huge. You couldn't go into Texas and take it over. Exactly. God damn, I love Texas.
Yeah, you.
That is such a fun state, just to like it's so stupid sometimes, but it's so fun to live there and just like see how people are. Oh, not being from there.
Yeah, no, I'm sure. Man, Texas. You know who really loves Texas?
Donnie?
No, Texans, but yeah, probably Donnie. Donnie would probably love Texas. That's crazy. That's like the only place like we're from Northeast Ohio, right? And we're like, you're like, man, I really like the mountains, and I'm like, yeah, I want to go somewhere hot. People in Texas are like, this is the greatest place on earth, and they don't want to leave.
Yeah, it's cool though. I like it. I like the pride.
Yeah, no, that is cool. I love Cleveland. Don't get me wrong. Cleveland's cool. It's too much snow up there. There's way too much snow.
Yeah. Yeah.
I saw like a Starlink
Texas.
statistic, like Cleveland gets more snow than like Toronto. Like that's ridiculous.
Really?
Yeah.
On the lake there.
Yeah. But
that's what, dude. I try to tell people that shit here. They all get like, I get like looks and stuff. Like, oh, why aren't you wearing a sweatshirt? It's like, it's fucking hot. The sun's beating down here. Like, you're not from North Ohio where the wind blows off the fucking lakes. It's cold and cloudy all the time.
People don't understand. Like, I think.
And then I feel like an idiot because I'm like acting like I'm from this super cold place. I'm in the fucking Midwest, but it really is like startling how much hotter it is in Colorado.
Yeah. No, I try to tell people here that like they don't get it because like when it'll snow like 2 inches here and people will freak out. It's like Cleveland got like 12 inches the other day. I don't know what you guys are doing.
So the city of Denver is like startlingly unprepared to deal with snow. It doesn't make any sense.
That's stupid.
The only thing I can think of is like because it comes in off the mountains, and so it like cycles really quick. So you get like 6 inches or something, and it'll be gone by mid next day because the sun's fucking beating down on the snow. Yeah. And like it's real quick. So I'm thinking maybe they just don't have, or they choose not to waste resources responding because it goes away really fast a lot of the time. But it's really weird. Like,
yeah, that's
like I'm in this area and they just like ignore it.
That's kind of what they do here. They don't waste the money on the resources to respond, so they just let it happen and kind of just say fuck it.
Fuck it, doesn't matter.
Oh, yeah. Let's move on. Let's get into some Trump.
We talked about guns a lot.
Let's get into some Trump antics. And how do you think his meeting with KJU will go? Kim Jong.
Are they meeting? I missed
They're
this.
supposedly meeting this month, I think.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I think either nothing's going to happen, or the people that are most scared and hate Trump the most and call him a Nazi all the time are right, and they're going to take over the world. So those are our options, I think.
Wait, say that again?
The like people who hate Trump the most, their worst like fears about him being a fucking Nazi basically are true, and him and Kim Jong are gonna conspire to take over the world.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think about that outcome. No, he doesn't respect people from other cultures, so I don't know if he respects Kim Jong.
Yeah, I bet he's gonna be a dickhead.
Yeah, I mean it's easy to say. Like if you were meeting with Putin again, like I'd be like, yeah, because Putin's white, so like. Yeah, that's easy. Yeah.
There's some respect there.
Yeah, there's a little respect. I think Trump admires Putin, but
yeah, I think he probably does too.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie.
Fucking Putin.
I don't not admire
Putin's
Putin.
dead.
What?
He's an effective leader for sure.
Yeah. I mean, he's strong-armed his way into billions of dollars. He was head of the KGB, and
Yeah, that's what I'm really excited for him to die.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
He's like the last thing that's just like holding on to this old Soviet Union idea.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
It's just that just needs to go away. We don't need it. I have felt like the Russian people and the American people have like a lot more in common in a lot of ways than like Americans in Western Europe, let's say.
How's that?
That makes sense. Well, it's just like it's a generally more conservative population, right? Western Europe, they just seem like there's more of a like hardiness and resilience that I think exists in America and in Russia than in
France. Say that again. Sorry, I don't know what's going on with the audio again.
There's more of like a hardiness and resilience with the Russian people.
Yeah,
that I feel like there's some parallels to America that just like doesn't exist in some of those Western European countries.
True. Yeah, I 100% agree with that.
If that makes sense. Like,
yeah, 100% makes sense. And like, I don't know. There's this certain like mystique about Russia, it's interesting.
Sure.
It kind of grabs my attention, which is not true.
Yeah, technically, I think they're our oldest ally, actually, if I'm not mistaken. I think they're like I think they're the first country that we like truly had some dealings with, like after we became a nation, because France and Britain were like too busy slap fighting and like trying to manipulate us and play us against each other. So being our friend, I can't remember exactly what it was, but I know there was like a treaty or something.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure on it, but I don't doubt it because we have a history with them going way back.
Yeah, before the monarchy was deposed of. Now they're just communists.
Yeah, that tickles me the wrong way.
Communists? Yeah, it's not very nice.
No, I mean, the ideology is bad. It's just like it's impossible. It's just impossible.
Yeah. That sucks so bad for the Middle East in particular.
Why do you say that?
Communism is just like we did a ton of shit to fuck the Middle East up between us and Britain. And it was all because we were terrified of Russia. So that doesn't justify it, but you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
the ramifications from the Cold War just like fucking murdered the Middle East.
Yeah, it's wild that like these power players that you can count on one hand influence a region that they're not even in. It's crazy. But
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Hopefully, I'm hesitant, but the new, like, the young crown prince from Saudi Arabia sounds like some like good change might actually occur in that region, and maybe we can get things stabilized and figure things
Yeah,
out.
yeah, he's really trying to get shit together over there.
Good. The Iranian government being deposed would be really
Yeah, that would
helpful.
be nice.
Of pride, like I know a lot of Iranian people, like here at school, that come over or
Yeah,
whatever, and they all refer to themselves as Persian. Like they have a ton of cultural pride, and they're all like really nice. So like, there's a lot of good people in Iran,
yeah.
just kind of in the way.
I'm sure. I mean, it's the same thing. I met a group of Palestinian people for the first, which is just wild that like we're in our 20s and like I'm meeting these people from different cultures for the first time, but I met a group of Palestinian people for the first time, and good people. It's the same thing, you know. But like our alliance with Israel, you never know.
Yeah.
Not saying that Israel. I know Israeli people as well. I know a bunch of Jewish people. So, um, Jewish people are great too. Just to put that out there. But
Israel is like your friend at the bar that just keeps like trying to half pick fights with people. It's so frustrating because like their government is clearly, I don't want to say the good one, but you know what I mean. Like they're set up democratically. Like they cooperate with us, but they just go fucking poke hornets' nests all the time. And it's like, why stop? And then mean things sometimes themselves. It's annoying because then you got to pick the lesser of two evils. And it's just,
exactly.
Why are you doing what you're doing, Israel? Come on, cut it out.
Yeah. You want to
stop?
Speaking of Israel and foreign governments, I guess we can move into like foreign policy and like economic policy.
Yeah, why
and,
not?
Like,
hit everything else
today. I mean, we talked about the Middle East a little bit and like Syria, and I think Trump is handing Syria over to the Russians. I can't remember what the headline was. Something ridiculous.
Is that what's happening? I haven't like caught myself up on Syria in a few weeks.
Hold on. Hang in there 1 second.
We need some elevator music.
Ta-da.
Actually, we need let's get Dino to dessert, and he can be like our lookup guy.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he'll dessert for sure.
We all know what's gonna happen.
We need to get him on to talk about guns. I'm sure he's been brainwashed by the army.
I bet Dino has a lot of good things to say. Good, respectful, creative things.
Creative, good and respectful. We'll see. Look up, guy. Hurry up.
I apologize for this.
Yeah, we can cut out the gap.
I'm probably not going to do that. It sounds too much editing.
Just use the snip tool. You got to cut out that gap we had before of you saying, "Hey, are you there?"
I don't like the software I use is kind of annoying to use because it's free, you know.
The audio whatever.
Audacity. Yeah. It's a good name though. I like that name.
Yeah, that is a good name. I wish. Yeah. Oh no, there was a chemical attack, and Trump blamed Russia, of course. Yes. That was it. Yeah, there was a chemical attack, another chemical attack by Assad.
Man, okay. How do you? So let's go into this because this is an opinion I have that's I don't think very popular. I don't hear very many people express it, but So how do you feel about the Iraq War in general?
It was not about anything that they said it was about. Um, we're kind of jockeying for resources, so I don't know. It was useless. That's my general opinion about it. I mean, the Middle East is in just as much turmoil.
Yep.
And yeah, that's where I'm at on it.
Yeah, so here's my thing, and then this is your...
Uh-huh.
Like, they lied about it, a lot of things and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And the primary motivator was really just to get rid of Saddam, but even though there's like bad actors in there that are influencing things, I'm still to this day pro-Iraq war. And it's because just like, well, fundamentally, one of the most important things that kind of drives my political ideology, you could say, is I really don't like bullies.
Okay.
Right, line from Captain America, but it's true. That's like one of my fundamental tenets. And then in the Declaration or the Constitution, I can't remember, but like we have lots of words in our founding documents talking about how we're free and everybody's equal and blah, blah, blah. And yeah, we can talk about all that context if you want, but that's not the point I'm trying to make here. So, like, I don't feel right that we have all this power and all this quote unquote freedom, whatever you want to call it. And we sit there and watch like a Saddam do his thing or a Kim Jong do his thing or an Assad do his thing. Like, that doesn't sit well with me when we're like the big kid on the playground and we could go just fucking knock that person out. And I know it's more complicated than that because, like, obviously we cause a lot of problems sometimes when we do things. But fundamentally, I think it's something that we need to try to do.
All right, that's fair. And here's my counter to that. That's a fair assessment, and that's a fair opinion to have. And I'm with you on that. But like, do you listen to Charlemagne the God's podcast by any chance?
It's called
Brilliant Idiots. It's with Andrew Schultz. It's pretty good. They're not paying me to advertise for this either. And he always says, keep the same energy. Like, if you're going to do something, you got to keep the same, like, be consistent, in other words. Because he says a lot of, not outlandish things, but pretty flagrant things, but he stands by his statement. But with that being said, we got to keep that same energy. We can't, like, blacklist or, like, put certain dictators on the list that we're in favor with, or, like, that have something that we need, or, you know, and then disagree with other dictators. Like, if we're going to be that.
Right. No, I completely agree with that. Yeah.
So, like, if we're going to be that, then we have to be that for everyone.
Gotta walk the walk, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And yeah, and so in a lot of ways, like, my vision for what to happen is completely unrealistic because it's not something that could possibly be enacted out unless I was like king or something, right? But it's still a view I hold.
Are you saying that you want to be dictator of the United States, overthrow our great democracy? King Zach?
I am a Nazi. I think one of the finest pieces of legislation that this country's ever come up with was the 3/5 compromise, and we should maybe think about going back to that.
Oh my God. Remember that thing when you were like, oh, I have a black friend and I can say whatever I want?
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I cross that line?
I'm just fucking with you. But never say that shit again.
Dude, I love a good 3/5 joke. There's like just enough history in it. It feels sophisticated compared to the baser tribal instincts of other races.
You know what's fucked up? People probably don't even know what that is. Not people, but like...
There's a lot of people that I'm certain don't.
But...
That's crazy. Can you, like... Doesn't that just blow your mind? Like...
Yeah.
You can't not... Like, you have to accept that
Yo.
about how many people a black person is. That's fucking crazy.
Yeah. That is ridiculous. And again, it wasn't that long ago.
No,
It wasn't that long
it's
ago.
fucking insane. It's like how much of what you think is determined by just what's like programmed into you. Like all of it, right? Like it's nuts.
And like, women didn't get the right to vote till what?
Less than 100 years ago.
Yes, less than 100 years ago. In 1919, 1920.
It's fucking wild, man.
Yeah. Wild.
It's so weird. I mean, I just wrote that piece kind of hinting at this, but it's like, you know, like American exceptionalism is a thing.
Yeah.
And like lots of bitter people don't like to acknowledge that, but like I don't know. It's like, I don't know. So what's so hard about saying it's both for people, right? Like we did do really horrible things. We're still doing horrible things. We've also done some really great things, and we're doing some really great things. Like it's not black and white,
No,
you know?
it's not at all. And like, again, I think you said this in that piece that it's an experiment.
Yeah, that was the whole idea.
Exactly. And like the shit, it is wrong. It's not wrong. It's not immoral, but it's just the way it is. But we sometimes can't hold 1800s people to our 2018 moral standards, because that's just not the way it is.
Yeah.
And like,
that's what.
Say that again.
You can speak on. I was just saying you can speak on this more than I can, and I don't want to like go on some diatribe about it since I'm not black. Mm-hmm. Like my natural response is just to like roll my eyes when I see like kind of a sentiment that implies that there's like nothing to learn from these people or something, right?
Right.
They weren't actually good people because they had slaves, which like that's a complicated in and of itself. But you know what I mean? Like,
no, yeah, I got you.
I don't know. Do you read Ta-Nehisi Coates or anything?
Say that again. You broke up a little bit.
Do you ever read Ta-Nehisi Coates or anything? Okay, so he's a pretty good writer. Do you know who he is?
What?
Do you know who he is?
I'm not familiar whatsoever.
Oh, okay. He's an African American writer. He's very progressive, very good writer. I like to read him. Just it's like a challenging what I think type thing. Right. But anyways, he kind of I've seen him on a podcast before, kind of like talking about this subject, and I can't remember exactly how he put it, but he was basically saying like, in some ways, if you're African American, you got to have like a thick skin when you're studying history. Otherwise, you're not going to get out of it what you should be getting out of it, because it's easy to like become emotionally invested in it for obvious reasons. If that makes sense.
No, yeah, that makes 100% sense. Like, I don't know, I'm trying to remember. Someone was at, like, the Lincoln Memorial, I think. Maybe I wasn't there. Someone told me this. But, like, an African-American girl was, like, looking at the Lincoln Memorial, and, like, it was, like, she was, like, yeah, Lincoln, the person that, like, supposedly freed the slaves or whatever, like, as a, like, kind of backhanded kind of compliment, or, like, backhanded statement. Excuse me. But, like, stuff like that. It doesn't necessarily bother me, but you gotta, like, think at like think about the times, you know,
Yeah,
like
and it's almost like that attitude too, just like I don't know how to put this in the words, but it just like makes me sad.
how so?
Like, well, it's just like so we've got all this history and all these things have happened, and that not only has it led to the point where, like, obviously there's some disparities between opportunities for African Americans and white people and stuff, but like not only has it done that, but now it has sufficiently altered your mindset that you're just like bitter, basically, right?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Like I don't know, that just like makes me sad when people can't read about Abraham Lincoln and feel inspired because of slavery.
Yeah, no, I get where you're coming from. Yeah, like I and I guess it's definitely a mindset thing. It's like your outlook look on it. I
Mm-hmm.
understand that, like, and people have to understand that we do live in this thing called a democracy. So, like, it's not like he was going to snap his fingers and slaves are just going to be gone.
Yeah,
And I don't know. Have you ever seen the movie Lincoln?
I have not.
Yeah,
I've seen Abraham Lincoln Empire Slayer.
yeah, great. That's actually a very underrated film. All right.
Yeah, actually, the first time I watched it, I was like, "This is gonna be ridiculous," and I enjoyed it quite a bit.
Yeah. But yeah, they just said, like, back again to like understanding like the times and not trying to project our morals on history that's already happened, and understanding that if we didn't go down, like, I don't know what it would have been like if like we had not been through the, like, as an African American, that like our people, and I hate to like group us all together like that because it's kind of taking a step backwards in my mind, but like for like our people to endure something like that, you just don't know where we would have been as a group. I mean, I'm sure we wouldn't have been like disenfranchised and like be in Africa somewhere on the Serengeti, not necessarily, but
Serengeti.
no, there are great, beautiful cities in Africa. I want to go to like Angola and like Liberia and stuff
Yeah,
like
for
that.
sure.
But yeah, but that's another story for another point, another talk for another day. But like, you just don't know. Like, I think we're not that we're better for it, but like, there's something to being like ripped out of your home and being put through this, and like you're still surviving and thriving for the most part. You know?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely I mean, it's like a warped way to think about it, but there are definitely like modern day advantages that the African American community has, I think, because of all the
Right.
hardship that they went through.
And like, I think it's a trying time for older white males in the country, because you guys are on the defensive nowadays. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's interesting because I was thinking about this the other day. Actually, like, don't take this the wrong way, but like Richard Spencer has a point
Ooh. Whoa,
in
whoa,
that
whoa,
he's
whoa,
maybe
whoa, whoa, whoa,
like like not that I agree with anything he says, but like he's kind of right to be scared because white people aren't going to be the majority for very long. And like now, I personally am not worried about that, but like, hey, when we're the minority, who's to say that something bad can't happen?
And I'm here with you to say that I'm not sure that something bad isn't gonna happen.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say,
because
man.
we don't know.
All those fucking bitter people staring at that Lincoln statue with their revenge.
But I mean, I guess we can end it up on this because we're kind of running out of time here. But like, that whole idea of like or the war on masculinity or whatever, and like, it's wild out here to be a male these days. Not that I'm defending, the Me Too offenders or not defending.
Real man takes what he wants.
Grammar by the plate. No. I'm not defending the Me Too offend.
I completely forgot how much. I'm sorry, make your point. I'm reflecting on our president is.
Not that I'm defending the Me Too offenders and the Harvey Weinstein shits of the world, but motherfucking males better watch out these days, and not just any males, old white men, and the people in power, because people have had enough of the shit, rightfully so. And yeah, so that's where I'm at on it.
Yeah, definitely. I think masculinity will be a good topic to flesh out for next week's podcast.
Yeah.
It's definitely complicated, right? Because I mean, again, if you guys can't tell, my whole thing about pretty much everything is balance, and there's like some points with males getting pigeonholed roles, but there's also like a reason for it, and there's use and utility to behaving in that manner, but not the rape manner, just the manly man manner. But okay, got any final thoughts, James?
Final thoughts. Yeah.
With Tommy Lahren.
Oh, shit. Fucking that chick. Final thoughts. Yeah, I mean, we kind of covered a lot today, so I mean, we appreciate you listening. So that's it.
Definitely, it was fun. We had a good conversation.
Absolutely.
I think James and I are learning lots about each other.
100%. I definitely got to start reading more, though. I haven't been reading.
I haven't read in a while, actually. I should pick it back up. School's been crazy, man.
I feel you. But yeah, so like if you're listening on Anchor, we appreciate it. Please stay tuned for more episodes from us. If you're listening on YouTube, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification thing so you can know when we put up more episodes. Watch our episode from last week. It's Elephant in the Room. I don't know what we're going to name this one yet. It'll probably be Grab Her by the... No, I'm just kidding. But, yes.
Break the Wheel.
Break the Wheel episode. Or, we'll name it Let's Talk About Guns, because that was the majority of our talk. But, yeah, definitely appreciate you guys tuning in.
Yep. Thanks for listening, guys. Really appreciate it. We want to grow this brand to be a legitimate thing because we both think that the things we talk about and the hashing out we do is important, and it would be a good thing for more people to hear.
Exactly.
So.
And if you're not familiar, I am James, and that is Zach. I am a black kid from the inner city of Cleveland, and he is a white kid from the middle of nowhere, Ohio.
Trump County, USA.
So I think we're kind of helping, like we say, break the wheel. It's a Game of Thrones reference if you don't know, but trying to move mountains with people from opposite backgrounds coming together and talking about shit, opening up some dialogue. So, all right, I think that's it.
All right, you stay classy, America.
Of course. See ya.